Welcome back to Late Night. We're here with Nick Kroll. We discussed your parents. How, especially, you talk about childbirth in this special. How does your wife respond to the idea of putting her stories in your act?
Well, I think my wife Lily was, has been really helpful throughout the process of coming up with working on this hour. And she was like, if you're going to talk about like the birth of our child, like don't do some bull little joke about it,
Yeah.
And so it forced me to kind of actually get into like what matters, and it helped me eventually get to the point where I make fun of moms, but then in talking about childbirth, it's like you understand why moms are so we're so tied to our moms and that complicated relationship. And I definitely would not have gotten there without like really talking through all of that with my wife Lily. So I'm very grateful to her.
It's very special to have someone who can collaborate that way on the writing of material about important things.
Yes, I mean, she writes all my jokes. I am a vessel for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my Alexi writes all my jokes, and it's very hard on me when I get it wrong.
Yeah.
She's backstage like
Stick to the what was on the page.
Yeah, like a dance mom. She's like, you failed.
Yeah.
You did something very risky.
Mm-hmm.
You had a movie premiere at the Venice Film Festival.
Yes.
And you went on a red eye with a 1.5-year-old.
Yes, me and my wife, and we flew with our son. And when you fly with your worst nightmare is you fly with your child, and that your child is going to be loud and unpleasant on a plane. And we thought we had timed it well. Like it was like a 7:00 flight. We get on there with him. We've got all of this. We put him in his little sleep sack, and like, but for those of you who don't have kids, sleep sacks are they're like a sleeping bag with a tank top.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I want to wear that. Why don't they make a adult size that? And so, we get him ready for bed. We start reading him some books. We read him all the late night show hosts. We read him Kimmel's book. We read him Fallon's book, Corden's book, and Greg Gutfeld's book.
Oh, my God.
And here's what the libs don't want you to know about sleep.
It is very good.
And,
I don't agree with him all the time. It's very good.
It's very good. And then he goes, and then he misses his window, and he's then awake, and he starts screaming. And for almost the entire red eye, he will not fall asleep. And like we have people trying to like give him advice. This like woman who I think was at one point a model came up. And she was like, maybe I should hold your baby. And she picked him up, and my son, like, because she looked like a bunch of paper airplanes covered in marzipan. And my son freaked out. And so then he's crying the entire flight. We land in Venice, and this guy gets off the plane, and he's wearing like a seersucker suit and a Panama hat. I think it's like a mob boss, like a proper Italian mafia boss. He is not happy about it. I then get to baggage claim. I realize it's not a mafia boss. It's Brendan Fraser. And he's so pissed. And then we go out that night, and I see Natasha Lyonne, who's at the festival.
Yeah.
And she's like, how was your flight? And I was like, it was all right. My kid cried a bunch, and then she's like, that was your kid on the plane? So she was like, that was like Lou Reed. And I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so finds out that Brendan Fraser was talking about how much my son was crying on the plane, that he wouldn't fall asleep. He couldn't get a good night's sleep. I was like, I felt terrible. It's your worst nightmare that you're going to be the people whose kid is screaming on the red eye. The next night I go to a premiere with my wife, and we go to see this movie called The Whale.
Starring Brendan Fraser, yeah.
Right. And he plays this like 600-pound man, and the movie, he's amazing in the film, and he's one of my favorite actors.
He's great.
From Encino Man to where he's a Jew in School Ties.
Yeah.
So believable. To the documentary The Mummy. The follow-up documentary The Mummy Returns. And then finally, he's in this movie, and this is his big comeback. The movie finishes, he gets an 8-minute standing ovation. He's crying. You can feel him being like, I'm back, baby. It's the Oscars, here we come. He then turns around, and me and my wife are standing directly behind him. And he looks at us, and then I pull up my baby, and he starts crying. And my wife took a picture of him just at the moment he looked at us. And if you can look closely, you can see Brendan Fraser realizing that we have ruined his night.
The one person I said don't give a ticket to was Kroll's baby.
Yeah, I know. What are you gonna do? I mean,
Congratulations on the special. It's fantastic. It's
you
always a pleasure to see you. Nick Kroll, Little Big Boy is streaming on Netflix, and don't worry, darling, it's in theaters now. We'll be right back with Steve-O.